Dr. Amy Rodriguez wiped the sweat from her forehead as she stared at the readings on her scanner. The numbers made no sense. 3 kilometers deep inside asteroid Series 7, something was giving off energy signatures that should not exist. The mining facility had been operational for 2 years, and nothing like this had ever appeared before. Jake Morrison adjusted the drilling controls and looked over at Amy with concern. They had been working together for 6 months on this remote outpost, and he had never seen her look so puzzled. "What are you seeing down there, Doc?" he asked while checking the drill's progress on his monitor. Amy shook her head and ran another scan. The energy readings were getting stronger as they went deeper. "Jake, I need you to stop the drill for a moment. There's something big down there, and I don't think it's natural rock formation." Lisa Park looked up from her communication station where she had been sending routine reports back to Earth. "Is everything okay over there? The readings I'm getting on my end show some unusual electromagnetic activity." The three of them had been the only humans on this small research station for months. Their job was simple: extract rare minerals from the asteroid and send regular reports back to the main colony. Amy was here because sometimes they found interesting geological formations that needed a scientist's eye. But this was different. Jake powered down the drill and walked over to Amy's workstation. "Show me what you're seeing." Amy pulled up the deep scan results on the main screen. The image showed a large hollow space about 50 meters across, perfectly round, sitting exactly 3 kilometers below their current position. "That's not possible," Lisa said, joining them at the screen. "Asteroids don't have perfect circular cavities. And look at these energy readings. Whatever is down there is still active." Amy felt her heart racing. In 15 years of studying space geology, she had never seen anything like this. "Jake, I need you to adjust the drill path. We're going down there, but carefully, very carefully." The next 6 hours passed slowly as Jake guided the drill toward the mysterious cavity. Amy monitored every meter of progress while Lisa maintained constant contact with Earth, though she had not yet reported their discovery. They all agreed to wait until they knew more. When the drill finally broke through into the hollow space, Amy's scanner went wild. The energy readings jumped so high that she had to recalibrate her equipment twice. "Jake, bring the drill back up. We need to send down a probe." The probe's camera feed showed them something that made all three humans stop breathing for a moment. The cavity was not empty. It was filled with what looked like crystalline structures arranged in perfect geometric patterns. Blue light pulsed through the crystals in regular intervals, creating a rhythm like a heartbeat. "Are you recording this?" Amy asked Lisa, who was already saving every second of the footage. "Every frame," Lisa replied. "Amy, these structures look artificial, very artificial." Jake leaned closer to the screen. "Doc, those aren't just crystals. Look at the way they're arranged. It's like some kind of machinery." Amy directed the probe deeper into the chamber. The camera revealed more incredible details. The crystalline structures were connected by what appeared to be energy conduits that glowed with soft blue light. At the center of the chamber sat a larger structure that looked almost like a chair or control station. "My God," Amy whispered. "This is alien technology." The probe's sensors detected that the chamber had breathable atmosphere and normal pressure. The temperature was exactly 20 degrees Celsius. As if the environment was being maintained for biological life forms, Lisa's communication equipment suddenly came alive with incoming signals. "I'm getting transmissions, but not from Earth. The signals are coming from ... everywhere, multiple directions in deep space." Amy realized what was happening. The drilling woke something up. Our activity down there triggered some kind of response system. Jake checked his equipment readings. The energy output from that chamber just doubled in the last 10 minutes. Whatever we found down there, it's becoming more active. Amy made a decision that would change everything. "Lisa, send an emergency signal to Earth. Tell them we need the full xenorchaeology team here immediately." "Jake, prepare the descent equipment. We're going down there." "Are you crazy?" Jake asked. "We don't know if it's safe." "Look at those energy readings," Amy replied, pointing to her scanner. This technology has been dormant for who knows how long, and our presence woke it up. We need to find out why. Lisa finished sending the emergency signal to Earth and turned to her colleagues. The message will take 4 hours to reach Earth, and their response will take another 4 hours to get back to us. We're on our own until then? Amy was already putting on her environmental suit. Then we better make those 8 hours count. Whatever this thing is, it's clearly reacting to human presence. We need to know what it wants. The 3 humans prepared to descend into the chamber, unaware that their discovery would soon alert civilizations across the galaxy that something ancient and powerful had finally awakened on a small blue planet in a distant solar system. General Patricia Wells stood at the head of the conference table in the Global Defense Initiative headquarters in Geneva, staring at the holographic display that showed signals coming from across the solar system. The emergency meeting had been called 6 hours after receiving Dr. Rodriguez's transmission from Series 7, but the situation had grown far beyond what anyone expected. Dr. Carlos Martinez, head of the Xenobiology Institute, was the first to speak. General, we've confirmed similar energy signatures from 12 different locations. Mars, Europa, Titan, and 9 other sites we never knew existed. They all activated at exactly the same time as the discovery on Series 7. Ryan Cooper, the intelligence officer who had been tracking deep space communications for the past decade, pulled up another display. It gets worse. We're detecting response signals from outside our solar system. At least 47 different sources, all aimed directly at Earth. Patricia felt the weight of command settling on her shoulders. In 30 years of military service, she had never faced anything like this. Dr. Martinez, what's your assessment of the threat level? Carlos adjusted his glasses and looked at the data again. General, I don't think these are weapons. The energy signatures are all wrong for any kind of offensive system. These look more like communication arrays or monitoring stations. Dr. Sandra Hayes, who had been quiet until now, finally spoke up. General, I've been running analysis on the timing of these activations. They didn't happen randomly. Something specific triggered them. Sandra was one of the world's leading experts on human consciousness research, and her presence at this meeting was no coincidence. Patricia had called her because the initial reports from Series 7 mentioned that the alien technology seemed to respond to human presence. What kind of trigger are we talking about, Dr. Hayes? Patricia asked. Sandra pulled up her own set of data. For the past 6 months, we've been conducting experiments with networked human consciousness at our research facility in Colorado. We've been testing whether groups of humans can share thoughts and emotions through advanced neural interfaces. Ryan looked confused. What does that have to do with alien monitoring stations? Everything, Sandra continued. The activation of these stations coincides exactly with our breakthrough in collective human consciousness. 3 weeks ago, we successfully connected 50 volunteers in a shared mental network for the first time in human history. The room fell silent as everyone processed this information. Carlos was the first to speak. You're suggesting that our consciousness experiments somehow triggered these alien devices? Sandra nodded. I think these stations have been waiting for humanity to reach a specific level of mental development. Our breakthrough in collective consciousness was the signal they were programmed to detect. Captain Alex Stone, who had been listening quietly from the back of the room, stepped forward. General, request permission to lead an investigation team to the Antarctic site. Our satellite scans show it's the largest of all the detected stations. Patricia looked at the map showing the global distribution of the activated sites. The Antarctic location was indeed massive, buried under 2 miles of ice in one of the most remote regions on Earth. Captain, what makes you think you can get down there safely? We've got the technology, and frankly, General, we need answers. If Dr. Hayes is right about these stations monitoring our consciousness development, then we need to know what they're planning to do next. Carlos pulled up another display showing signal analysis. Captain Stone is right. The signals from the Antarctic station are different from all the others. It's not just monitoring, it's actively communicating with something. Ryan checked his Communication intercepts. I can confirm that. The Antarctic station is sending and receiving data at a rate that's off the charts. Whatever's down there, it's very busy. Patricia made her decision. Captain Stone, you have authorization for Operation Deep Freeze. Take whatever team and equipment you need. Dr. Hayes, I want you on that team. If this is about human consciousness, we need your expertise down there. Sandra looked nervous, but determined. General, there's something else. The volunteers from our consciousness experiments have been reporting shared dreams for the past week. Dreams about vast underground chambers filled with crystalline structures. The room went quiet again. Captain Stone was the first to react. That matches the description from Series 7 exactly. It gets stranger, Sandra continued. The dreams all end the same way. The volunteers see themselves standing in front of something. That looks like a doorway, and they feel an overwhelming sense that they're being tested. Carlos leaned forward. Tested for what? I don't know, Sandra admitted. But whatever these stations are, they're not just monitoring us anymore. They're evaluating us. Patricia looked at the global map one more time. 47 signals from deep space, all aimed at Earth, 12 monitoring stations across the solar system, all suddenly active. And now reports of shared dreams among humans who had participated in consciousness experiments. People, I think, we're looking at first contact, she said quietly. But this isn't visitors arriving on our doorstep. This is something that's been watching us for a very long time, waiting for us to develop enough to notice them. Ryan pulled up his analysis of the deep space signals. General, based on the signal strength and direction, some of these transmissions are coming from thousands of light years away. Whatever sent them has been traveling for a very long time. Captain Stone gathered his equipment specifications. General, if we're really dealing with ancient alien technology that's been waiting for humanity to evolve, then we need to move fast. If they've been waiting this long, they probably won't wait much longer. Patricia nodded and turned to address the entire room. Ladies and gentlemen, as of this moment, Earth is under a state of xenological alert. Captain Stone, get your team to Antarctica immediately. Dr. Martinez, I want full analysis of all detected sites within 48 hours. Ryan, monitor all incoming signals and keep me informed of any changes. She paused and looked at each person in the room. And everyone remember, we may be about to find out that humanity has been part of some kind of galactic community for longer than we ever imagined. The question is whether we're ready to join it. Captain Alex Stone felt the ice drill vibrate through his boots as his team worked to reach the alien complex. 2 miles below the Antarctic surface, Dr. Emma Foster stood beside him, monitoring the energy readings that grew stronger with each meter they descended. The drilling had taken 3 days, but they were finally close to breaking through. Captain, we're getting some incredible readings down here, called Dr. Maya Johnson from her mobile genetics lab. She had insisted on bringing her equipment to Antarctica because Dr. Hayes' consciousness research had suggested this discovery might involve human biology in ways they didn't yet understand. The drill suddenly broke through into empty space. And, the entire team felt a shift in air pressure. Alex looked at Emma, who was staring at her instruments with wide eyes. Emma, what are you seeing? The cavity is enormous, she whispered. At least 2 kilometers across and half a kilometer high. And Alex, the temperature down there is perfect for human survival. Alex activated his communication system. Base camp, this is Stone. We've reached the target depth. Prepare for descent into the complex. The team of 8 humans rappelled down through the ice shaft and emerged into a chamber that took their breath away. The walls were covered in crystalline structures that pulsed with soft blue light, just like the ones found on Series 7. But this complex was far larger and more elaborate than anything they had imagined. Dr. Emma Foster was the first to speak. This isn't just a monitoring station. This is some kind of vast library or database. Massive crystal formations stretched from floor to ceiling, each one containing what appeared to be flowing patterns of light and information. The patterns moved like living things. Responding to the presence of the human team, Maya set up her genetics equipment and began scanning the crystalline structures. "I'm detecting organic compounds in these crystals. Not just minerals, but actual biological information stored in crystalline matrix." Alex led the team deeper into the complex, following pathways that seemed to have been designed for beings roughly the same size as humans. The blue light grew brighter as they walked, and the crystal formations became more complex and beautiful. "Captain, over here," called Dr. Foster from a central area of the complex. "I think this is some kind of control center." The team gathered around a circular platform surrounded by towering crystal columns. The moment all 8 humans stood together on the platform, the entire complex came alive. Holographic displays materialized in the air around them, showing star maps, genetic codes, and images of countless alien civilizations. Maya's equipment went wild with readings. These holograms are showing biological data from thousands of different species across the galaxy. "Captain, this is a genetic database of intelligent life." The holographic displays began focusing on specific information as if responding to their interest. Images of various alien species appeared and disappeared, each with detailed biological and cultural information. Then the display changed to show something that made the entire team freeze. "That's human DNA," Maya said quietly, staring at a familiar double helix structure floating in the holographic display. "But it's not quite right. There are sequences here that don't exist in any human genome I've ever studied." Emma moved closer to examine the display. "Maya, look at these markers. These genetic sequences are tagged as inactive in current human populations." The holographic system seemed to understand their interest and began showing more detailed information. The human genetic code was displayed alongside dozens of other species, but with a crucial difference. While other species showed complete genetic activation, humans showed large portions of their genetic code marked as dormant. "My God," Maya whispered. "We're looking at human genetic potential that hasn't been activated yet." Alex studied the displays carefully. "Dr. Johnson, are you saying that humans have dormant genetic capabilities?" Before Maya could answer, the holographic system changed again. Now it was showing historical information, images of ancient civilizations rising and falling across the galaxy. Each civilization followed a similar pattern: rapid technological development, followed by either self-destruction or evolutionary stagnation. Emma pointed to text that appeared in the holograms, somehow translating itself into English as they watched. "This is calling itself the Predecessor Archive. It's showing us the history of intelligent life in the galaxy." The historical display focused on one particular species: tall, graceful beings with large eyes and elongated limbs. Text identified them as the predecessors, the creators of the archive. The holograms showed how the predecessors had spent millions of years seeding the galaxy with intelligent life, always hoping to create a species that could surpass their own limitations. Maya was frantically recording everything with her equipment. "Captain, according to this data, every intelligent species the predecessors created ultimately failed. They either destroyed themselves through war and environmental damage, or they became so focused on logic and efficiency that they lost their creativity and drive." The display changed to show Earth's history from the earliest formation of life through the evolution of humans. But the timeline showed something impossible: direct intervention by the predecessors in human development at key evolutionary moments. "They guided our evolution," Emma said in amazement. "The predecessors didn't just watch humanity develop. They actively influenced our genetic development." Alex felt the implications hitting him like a physical blow. "We're not just another species they were monitoring. We're their final attempt to create something that could succeed where all the others failed." The holographic display responded to Alex's words by showing the dormant genetic sequences in human DNA in greater detail. The inactive code was labeled with symbols that translated as Awakening Protocol and Final Iteration. Maya studied the genetic information with growing excitement. "Captain, if this data is accurate, humans have genetic potential that far exceeds our current capabilities. Enhanced intelligence, improved physical abilities, and something else I can't quite identify. What do you mean, something else? Alex asked. Maya pointed to a section of the genetic code that was different from anything she had ever seen. This genetic sequence doesn't match any known biological function. It's almost like it's designed to interface with technology, but not any technology that currently exists on Earth. Emma was examining another part of the holographic display. Look at this. The archive is showing activation triggers for the dormant genetic code. Extreme stress, collective human cooperation, and exposure to predecessor technology. The team realized they were standing in the middle of the activation trigger. The complex wasn't just showing them information about human genetic potential. It was actively working to awaken that potential in them. Alex made a command decision. Everyone stay calm. We're going to document everything we can, but we need to be careful. We might be the first humans to have this dormant genetic code activated. As if responding to his words, the complex began a new sequence. The crystal formations around them pulsed with increasing intensity, and each team member felt a strange tingling sensation throughout their bodies. Maya's genetic scanners showed that the dormant sequences in their DNA were beginning to activate, one by one, changing them into something more than human while keeping them fundamentally human at their core. Lieutenant Colonel Janet Brooks was reviewing routine maintenance reports aboard Space Station Unity when reality suddenly changed around her. One moment she was looking at star charts showing their position near Mars, and the next moment the stars outside her viewport had shifted to completely unfamiliar constellations. "Command, this is Unity Station," she called into her communicator. "We have a situation up here. Our position has changed dramatically, and we're no longer receiving any signals from Earth or Mars." The response that came back was not from Earth Control, but from Commander Pete Williams aboard Research Station Aurora, which had been orbiting Europa just hours before. "Unity, this is Aurora Station. We're experiencing the same thing. Our entire station has been relocated to an unknown region of space." Janet felt her training take over as she processed this impossible situation. She had commanded Unity Station for 2 years, and nothing in her experience had prepared her for this. "Aurora, are your life support systems functioning normally?" "All systems green," Pete replied. "But Janet, we're not alone out here. I'm detecting at least 6 other human installations that have been moved to this region of space." Janet ran diagnostics on all of Unity's systems while her crew of 12 worked to understand their situation. Everything appeared normal except for their location. They had somehow been transported across vast distances of space without any damage or loss of life. Dr. Peter Kim, who ran the Neural Consciousness Lab on Earth, was experiencing something even stranger. His research facility had not been moved, but every human on Earth was beginning to experience shared dreams and enhanced mental abilities. Peter watched his monitoring equipment as brain activity patterns across his volunteer subjects began synchronizing in ways that should have been impossible. "Sarah, are you seeing this?" He called to his research assistant, Sarah Chun, who was monitoring the global network of consciousness research stations. "Dr. Kim, it's not just our subjects," Sarah replied with excitement and concern. "We're getting reports from research facilities worldwide. Humans everywhere are developing enhanced cognitive abilities and experiencing shared consciousness events." Peter realized they were witnessing the next phase of whatever had begun with the discovery of the alien monitoring stations. "Sarah, patch me through to all the consciousness research centers. We need to coordinate our observations." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel Brooks was discovering that Unity Station faced a specific challenge. Their food production systems had been damaged during the mysterious transportation, and they had only enough supplies for 2 weeks. But as she studied their situation, she realized this was not an accident. "This is a test," she announced to her crew during their emergency meeting. "Someone or something has placed us in a scenario designed to challenge our problem-solving abilities and cooperation." Chief Engineer Luke Martinez raised his hand. "Colonel, if this is a test, then maybe we're supposed to work with the other stations." Alone, we have 2 weeks of food. But if we can coordinate with the other installations, we might have enough resources to survive indefinitely. Janet nodded and opened communications with all the relocated human stations. Each installation faced different challenges. Aurora Station had plenty of food but limited oxygen recycling capacity. Research Station Gamma had excellent life support but no means of communication with the others. Mining Platform Delta had abundant raw materials but no way to process them into usable supplies. People, I think we're looking at a puzzle, Janet announced during the first multi-station conference call. Each of our installations has something the others need. We're being tested on our ability to work together as a species, not as individual groups. Dr. Peter Kim was reaching similar conclusions back on Earth. His enhanced consciousness experiments were revealing that humans could share knowledge and problem-solving capabilities when they worked together mentally. Volunteers in his lab were solving complex mathematical problems by combining their mental efforts in ways that had never been possible before. The genetic activation from the Antarctic discovery is changing us, Peter reported to the Global Defense Initiative. But the changes are designed to make us more cooperative and effective as a species, not more powerful as individuals. Communication. Specialist Grace Turner, who had been assigned to coordinate between the displaced space stations, made a breakthrough discovery. By combining the communication arrays from all 8 stations, she was able to establish a data link that was far more powerful than any single station could achieve. Colonel Brooks, I'm detecting response signals, Grace reported excitedly. Our combined communication array is receiving instructions from the same source that moved our stations. The instructions were simple but profound. Each station was presented with a series of challenges that required not just technical solutions, but moral and ethical decisions. Unity Station was asked to choose between saving their own food supplies or sharing them with a station that had children aboard. Aurora Station had to decide whether to use their limited oxygen to support their own crew or to help another station whose life support was failing. Janet realized that every decision was being monitored and evaluated. This isn't just about survival, she told her crew. We're being tested on what kind of species we are. Are we selfish and competitive, or are we capable of putting the greater good above our own immediate needs? The tests became more complex as days passed. The stations had to work together to solve engineering problems that no single installation could handle alone. Mining Platform Delta could extract raw materials, but Research Station Gamma had the laboratories needed to process those materials into useful supplies. Unity Station had the computational power to coordinate complex logistics, but Aurora Station had the manufacturing capabilities to build the components everyone needed. Dr. Peter Kim watched as the enhanced consciousness abilities on Earth allowed humans to participate in the space-based tests mentally. Volunteers in his lab were somehow able to share their knowledge and insights with the crew members on the displaced stations, creating a direct mental link across impossible distances. We're becoming something new, Peter reported to General Wells. The alien technology isn't just testing us, it's helping us evolve into a species that can think and act collectively while maintaining our individual identities and values. The most challenging test came when the stations detected another group of installations in distress. These were not human stations, but facilities belonging to another species that had apparently failed their own tests long ago. The automated systems presented humanity with a choice: use their limited resources to save themselves, or risk everything to help beings they had never met. Janet made the decision that would define humanity's future. All stations, this is Unity. Command, we're going to help them. If we're being tested on what kind of species we are, then we need to show that humans don't abandon others in need, even when it costs us. The rescue operation required every human installation to contribute their unique capabilities. It was technically impossible for any single station to accomplish, but by working together and sharing their enhanced consciousness abilities, humanity succeeded in saving the failing alien stations. The moment the rescue was complete, all the Human installations found themselves transported back to their original positions in the solar system, but they were not the same humans who had been taken. The tests had awakened something in them, an ability to work together that transcended physical distance and individual limitations while keeping them fundamentally human in their compassion and determination to help others. Captain Tony Martinez stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel Horizon, staring at the massive alien structure that had materialized in the outer solar system. The facility was larger than any human city, its crystalline surfaces reflecting the distant light of the sun in patterns that seemed almost alive. "Captain, we're receiving a direct communication from the structure," reported Communications Officer Linda Hayes. "It's not using radio waves or any technology we recognize. The message is appearing directly in our minds." Tony felt the alien communication as a gentle presence in his thoughts, speaking in concepts rather than words. The message was simple, but profound. Humanity had passed the preliminary tests and was now ready for the final evaluation. Dr. Rachel Morgan, the lead scientist aboard Horizon, was monitoring the biological changes occurring in the crew. "Captain, the genetic activation that began in Antarctica is accelerating. Every human in the solar system is experiencing enhanced abilities, but only when they work together. The enhanced abilities were unlike anything in human history. Individual crew members found they could interface directly with alien technology, but only when they maintained mental connection with other humans. It was as if humanity was becoming a collective intelligence that preserved individual personality and free will. Engineer Ben Clark was the first to successfully connect with the alien facility's systems. "Captain, I'm getting data streams from this thing, but it's incredible. This facility contains the accumulated knowledge of dozens of civilizations that came before us." The facility's central chamber welcomed the human crew with holographic displays showing the history of the galaxy's intelligent species. Each civilization had reached a similar point in their development where they faced the same choice: use their enhanced abilities for conquest and power, or use them for preservation and growth. Dr. Helen Wade, the ship's philosopher and cultural specialist, studied the historical records with growing understanding. "Tony, every species that came before us failed at this exact point. The moment they gained abilities beyond their original nature, they either became conquerors who destroyed other life, or they became so transcendent that they lost touch with their essential selves." The facility's tests for humanity were different from the previous trials. These challenges required humans to demonstrate that they could wield immense power responsibly while remaining fundamentally human in their values and motivations. The first test presented humanity with access to technology that could reshape entire planets. The crew of Horizon found they could control massive engineering systems that could terraform worlds or build structures that defied physics. But with that power came the temptation to use it for human expansion and dominance. "The test isn't whether we can use this technology," Ben realized as he interfaced with the planetary engineering systems. "It's whether we can use it wisely." Humanity's response surprised the ancient facility. Instead of using the terraforming technology to create new human colonies, they used it to restore damaged worlds that previous civilizations had abandoned. They repaired ecosystems, cleaned poisoned atmospheres, and rebuilt the natural beauty that had been destroyed by species who had prioritized power over preservation. Dr. Rachel Morgan made a crucial discovery while monitoring the genetic changes in the human population. The abilities we're developing aren't making us superhuman in the traditional sense. They're making us better humans. Enhanced empathy, improved cooperation, and most importantly, an unshakable commitment to protecting life rather than destroying it. The second test was even more challenging. The facility granted humanity access to weapons technology that could eliminate any threat in the galaxy. Previous species had used such power to conquer their neighbors or defend themselves through aggression, but humans chose a different path. "We don't need weapons to defend ourselves," Tony announced during a solar system-wide conference that connected every enhanced human through their shared consciousness abilities. "Our strength comes from our ability to work together and find Solutions that don't require violence. Instead of building weapons, humanity used the advanced technology to create shield systems that could protect entire solar systems from natural disasters. They developed medical technologies that could heal any disease or injury. They built communication systems that could connect civilizations across the galaxy in peaceful cooperation. The facility's AI systems, which had been programmed by the ancient predecessors, began displaying something that could only be described as amazement. No species in millions of years had consistently chosen preservation over power. Cooperation over conquest. Helen Wade made the breakthrough that revealed humanity's unique nature. We're not becoming gods or transcendent beings. We're becoming the best possible version of what we already were. The genetic modifications aren't changing our essential humanity, they're amplifying the qualities that made us human in the first place. The enhanced humans could indeed perform feats that seemed miraculous. They could heal injuries with touch, communicate across vast distances through thought, and solve problems that had baffled civilizations for millennia. But they used these abilities to help others, protect the vulnerable, and create beauty rather than to dominate or control. Captain Martinez and his crew completed the final test by demonstrating humanity's response to ultimate power. The facility offered them control over the galactic network that connected all inhabited worlds, the power to rule over countless civilizations, or to reshape the galaxy according to human desires. "We don't want to rule anyone," Tony said simply, speaking not just for his crew but for all of enhanced humanity. "We want to help, we want to protect. We want to make sure that life in all its forms has the chance to grow and flourish." The facility's response was immediate and overwhelming. Every system activated at once, filling the structure with brilliant light that could be seen from Earth. The ancient predecessors had finally achieved their goal after millions of years of failed attempts. Dr. Morgan watched her instruments as the genetic activation completed across the entire human species. "We've become something new, but we're still fundamentally human. We've gained incredible abilities, but our core nature remains unchanged. We still value individual life. We still feel compassion for those in need, and we still find joy in simple human pleasures." The facility began transmitting signals throughout the galaxy, announcing that the long search was over. The predecessor's final creation had succeeded where all others had failed. Humanity had proven that it was possible to evolve beyond biological limitations while maintaining the essential qualities that made life worth preserving. As Horizon prepared to return to Earth, Tony looked at his crew with pride and wonder. They were still the same people they had always been, but now they carried the responsibility of being the galaxy's guardians. It was a role they accepted not with grim duty, but with the same joy and determination that had always defined the best of human nature. Admiral Kate Phillips stepped through the shimmering gateway that had once been a simple monitoring station on Ceres 7, emerging onto a world of impossible beauty under twin purple suns. Behind her, a team of enhanced humans marveled at their first glimpse of the galaxy that was now their inheritance. The predecessor network had revealed itself completely after humanity passed the final tests. What had appeared to be simple monitoring stations were actually gateways to a vast collection of worlds and facilities scattered across the galaxy, all waiting for a species worthy of inheriting them. "Admiral, the atmospheric readings are perfect for human life," reported environmental specialist Nancy Davis as she scanned the alien world around them. "Temperature, pressure, oxygen levels, everything is exactly what we need." Kate looked across the landscape of crystalline cities and flowing gardens that stretched to the horizon. This world, designated as Heritage Prime by the facility's databases, had been home to a species called the Architects. They had been master builders who created wonders of engineering and art, but they had eventually lost their way and disappeared into cold perfection. Forgetting the joy and creativity that had made their achievements meaningful, Dr. Victor Chun, who now led the Heritage Restoration Project, was already studying the abandoned cities with his enhanced abilities. "Kate, these buildings are incredible, but they're empty of life. The architects became so focused on technical perfection that they stopped creating anything new. They just refined their existing works until they lost interest in existence itself. The pattern was the same on every world they visited through the Gateway network. Each inherited world told the story of a species that had achieved great things, but had ultimately failed because they lost touch with what made life worth living. Some had become pure logic without emotion. Others had become so focused on individual transcendence that they abandoned their communities. And still others had gained such power that they forgot the value of ordinary existence, Kate established. The first human settlement on Heritage Prime, but with a crucial difference from the previous inhabitants. The enhanced humans did not simply occupy the alien cities, they brought them back to life. Children played in the crystal gardens, artists added new decorations to the ancient buildings, and families made homes in structures that had been empty for thousands of years. The secret is that we're still human, explained Dr. Lisa Stone, who had been studying the psychological profiles of the failed civilizations. Every species that came before us either tried to eliminate their original nature or became so obsessed with their enhanced abilities that they forgot who they were. We're using our new capabilities to become better humans, not different beings. President Maria Santos, speaking from the newly established Galactic Council chamber on Earth, addressed the growing human presence across dozens of worlds. We are not conquerors or replacements for the species that came before us. We are gardeners, inheriting a galaxy that needs care and attention to flourish again. The enhanced humans discovered that their unique nature allowed them to restore not just the physical worlds, but the very essence of what had been lost. On the world of the contemplators, who had become so focused on philosophy that they forgot to take action, humans brought back the balance between thought and deed. On the planet of the builders, who had become obsessed with efficiency above all else, humans restored the importance of beauty and creativity. Admiral Phillips established a network of human settlements that served as restoration centers throughout the galaxy. Each world became a living example of how to balance advancement with fundamental values, how to grow beyond limitations while maintaining essential nature. The most remarkable thing, reported Chief Scientist Andrew Foster from his research station on the world of the Harmonists, is that we're not changing these worlds to be like Earth. We're helping them become the best version of what they were meant to be. The inherited technology was beyond anything humans had imagined, but they used it in ways that would have seemed impossible to the original creators. Machines designed for war were converted into systems for healing and growth. Weapons that could destroy planets were transformed into tools for terraforming and restoration. Communication networks built for control became systems for sharing knowledge and fostering cooperation. Children born on the heritage worlds grew up with enhanced abilities that their parents could barely comprehend, but they remained recognizably human in their curiosity, compassion, and joy. They played games that involved manipulating matter at the molecular level, but they laughed at simple jokes and cried when they were hurt. Just like human children had always done, Dr. Chun made a discovery that explained why humanity succeeded, where others had failed. We're not trying to transcend our humanity, he reported to the Galactic Council. Every other species saw their enhanced abilities as a way to become something greater than what they were. Humans see our abilities as tools to become the best possible version of what we already are. The galaxy began to change as human influence spread through the heritage worlds. Dead systems came back to life as humans restored their ecosystems and reintroduced the natural cycles that had been abandoned. Empty cities filled with the sounds of life and creativity as human families made homes among the wonders left by previous civilizations. Admiral Phillips stood in the council chamber on Heritage Prime, looking out at a view that showed dozens of worlds connected by streams of light from the Gateway network. Each world showed the glow of renewed life and activity as humans worked to restore what had been lost. We've inherited the dreams of 100 civilizations, she told the assembled representatives from across the galaxy. But we're not going to repeat their mistakes. We're going to show that it's possible to grow beyond your origins while keeping the heart of what makes you who you are. The final scene unfolded on a world that had been abandoned for 10,000 years by a species that had achieved perfect logic but lost all emotion. Human children played in gardens that bloomed with flowers engineered to sing in harmony with the wind, while their parents worked alongside restored alien automatons to build new wonders that combined the technical mastery of the ancients with the joy and creativity that made existence worthwhile. President Santos delivered the closing address from Earth. Her words transmitted simultaneously to every human settlement across the galaxy. We have awakened something ancient and powerful, but that something was always within us. We are still human in all the ways that matter most. We still value love over logic, cooperation over competition, and life over efficiency. We have become the guardians of a galaxy, not through conquest, but through the simple recognition that every form of life deserves the chance to grow and flourish in its own unique way. The enhanced humans had inherited a galaxy, but more importantly, they had proven that evolution and transcendence did not require abandoning what made them fundamentally human. They were gardeners of worlds, protectors of life, and carriers of hope, roles they embraced with the same wonder and determination that had always defined the best of human nature.